Ladies and gentlemen, and everyone in between, welcome back to Archie Sonic Explained Part 5. Before we begin, thank you sincerely. I didn't think anyone would care about this series when I dropped the first 3 parts, but the feedback has been inspiring. You all have given me motivation to keep going, which is why I'll be giving you all something in return. I will be giving out 2 copies of Sonic Frontiers on any platform. To enter the giveaway, subscribe to the channel and comment #FindYourFlame with a few sentences about your favorite parts of Archie or the IDW comics. Towards the end of this month, I'll announce the randomly selected winners on a brief live stream. Now, back to the video. After finishing her music tour, Mina Mongoose returns to the kingdom. Remember in issue 134 when I mentioned Mina's band manager and boyfriend Ash? Since Mina is also one of Sonic's ex-girlfriends, Ash would often be rude to him because he was uncomfortable with Mina's lingering ex being around, which he now apologizes for. Ash goes to fetch the luggage, while Mina asks Sonic to show her the destroyed remnants of the original knothole. She mentions her goal was to rally the nations against the Eggman Empire by inspiring them with her music. They find Mighty repairing the old base. Mina thanks the Chaotix for keeping her safe during the start of her tour. If you guys recall issue 173. She asks about Knuckles' whereabouts, and Sonic and Mighty glance at one another somberly before filling her in on the Interjack situation. Tails then swoops down, lightening the mood. Tails tells them that they've got the lab up and running. When they enter the lab, Nicole greets Mina and tells Sonic that Mogul wishes to speak with him at the Acorn prison. Please let him have a sore throat. I have plans for the rest of the day, Sonic pleads. Mogul threatens to use his power to sick the fearsome foursome, strange name, onto Sonic. Sonic calls his bluff, stating that his cage repels his magic. He walks away laughing. Later that night, Mogul explains to Fang that he can control people he has marked, and by using his psychic abilities, he takes control of Mina Mongoose, Mighty the Armadillo, and Tails Miles Prower, mind-controlled by Mogul. The 3 of them march onto Sonic's quarters in the base, attacking him, and say, "You were warned, now rise, my 4th." Sonic does the usual song and dance with his mind-controlled friends as Mogul explains through them how he managed to do this. Ash intervenes to stop Mina, and Sonic stops Tails. Mogul decides to make another plan, and all 3 friends run off in separate directions. Sonic fills Ash in on what's going on and takes him to meet Mogul in the Acorn prison. They confront Mogul, demanding for him to release their friends from the mind control. Mogul explains that he has Tails flying into the atmosphere until he passes out and falls to his death, that he has Mina speeding above the ocean and will tell her to stop so that she can drown, and that he has Mighty walking straight into the Eggman Empire unarmed. Sonic realizes that he is not fast enough to catch all 3 of his friends at once. Mogul, now with the upper hand, demands a Chaos Emerald to be released from his cage, if Sonic wants his friends to return home safely, that is. Sonic and Ash race into the Acorn Castle, snags the emerald, and hands it over to Mogul. All 3 of Sonic's friends begin turning back around to the Acorn Kingdom. Nicole, unknowing of the situation, berates Sonic, then Mogul frees the rest of the prisoners. Mogul, now restored to his former glory, grabs Sonic with his psychic abilities, and tells Sonic that the fearsome foursome are decommissioned, declaring that he cannot best Sonic. His reasoning being that Sonic has managed to find a way to take him down twice, even at his full power. He decides that his best course of action is to wait until Sonic grows old of age to enact his revenge. Mogul teleports elsewhere, accompanied by his prison mates. A bit later, Mighty, Tails, and Mina reconcile with Ash and Sonic, who reassures them that their loss is only temporary. We aren't done with Mogul quite yet, as a bit later, Rouge and a fellow spy, a skunk by the name of Jeffrey St. John, enters the Mogul's new club in a casino night zone. They run into and are greeted by Mogul instantly, and they have a conversation about how Mogul managed to turn an old Eggman base into an international success overnight. One of the casino attendants calls Mogul to a meeting, some of which, if you're familiar with early Western Sonic material, you'll recognize as Scratch, Grounder, and Coconuts, some of Eggman's original badniks. That aside, Mogul has a meeting with the Hooligan Trio and Sleuth of the Destructics. Sleuth plays hard with Mogul, saying that getting captured by Eggman in issue 164 and him letting Sonic off easy makes him look like he's going soft. He questions if the Destructics can even work with Mogul anymore. Being a complete man of business, however, Mogul calls his bluff, reading that Sleuth, at the end of the day, is in it for the money, and that his being there is proof enough. Mogul puts a bounty on Sonic's head. Elsewhere, our favorite uncle, Merlin Prower, dispels Mogul's markings from Tails, Mina, and Mighty and removes anything remaining of Enerjack from Knuckles. After taking care of that, Merlin gives his farewell to Tails before setting off. Sonic and Sally meet up in the woods near the remains of the former kingdom and begin to reminisce on old times. Before they can finish having their moment, Bean and Bark come storming in. It's like the birthday bash all over again. Tussling with Bark, Sonic puts two and two together, realizing that Mogul put a bounty on his head. While Sally outsmarts Bean, Sonic gets sucker punched by Bark off a cliff. The Destructics ambush our hero, but he takes them all on. Above the cliff, Sally strikes a deal with Bean and Bark, saying that she will clear their record and pay more than whatever Mogul is paying them to help out Sonic. They comply, jumping in to help out our guy. Fang, from a distance, snipes Sonic with a stun gun, and the Destructics capture him. With Sonic out of commission, Bean reasons that doing her request wouldn't be in their best interest anymore. Fang tells the Destructics to go ahead and cash in on Sonic while he takes care of Sally. But he finds the idea of just shooting her boring, so he decides to make it more interesting. Since they are near the Freedom Fighters' hideout, he gives her a 10-second head start. Will she make it to the base for help, or will he gun her down first? Sonic wakes up in the van as the Destructics are driving back to the nightclub. He recalls the ambush that just occurred and realizes that Sally is alone with Fang. Fang counts down, and once he reaches 1, he fires at Sally and misses, as he didn't expect for her to take a secret entrance. Once inside the base, she finds Amy, explains the situation, and they formulate a plan. Fang goes inside and takes aim at Sally, but Amy gets the jump on him and wallops him out the base. Sally goes into the lab and instructs Nicole to alert everyone that Sonic has been kidnapped and to arrest Fang. She and Amy take a hovercraft to go after the Destructics. At the club, the old bandits taunt Sonic for a bit before Sleuth tells them to hurry up and fetch Mogul so that they can collect. Sally and Amy finally reach the casino where they encounter Jeffrey, who was hired by Elias to spy on Mogul, and then Rouge, who was doing a joint operation with Jeffrey on behalf of GUN. And it was all the better for it because after Sally fills them in on the situation, Rouge tells them where she thinks Sonic might be at in the casino. There's this panel with Bean that I'm just going to leave on the screen for a bit because it got a chuckle out of me while writing the script. Anywho's, Sally, Amy, and Jeffrey crash in to save Sonic. Care to back me up? And ruin this dress? You're out of your mind. Sonic breaks free and starts wrecking house. Rouge gets a hold of Sleuth, who says he'll go through her if he has to, but Rouge lets him know that Mogul paid her for a job. What's the job? Let's keep reading. The team decides to go confront Mogul. Sally questions Mogul on why he put a bounty on Sonic's head, and Mogul just gaslights her as he asks Sleuth why'd he use the casino as a place to hold up Sonic. Sleuth plays along, making it seem like as if this kidnapping was all his idea. Sonic calls Mogul out on his BS, but without any proof, how can Sonic debunk Sleuth's confession? Mogul asks. Taking the gaslighting a bit further, he begins to talk down to Sonic for his seemingly outlandish accusation to embarrass him in front of the casino guest, telling Sally that he will be sending Elias an invoice to cover the cost of the damages from fighting in the casino. Turns out Rouge's job was to let Sleuth know of Mogul's true plan to humiliate Sonic, and he pays them both for it. As the heroes return home, they pick their chins up and Sonic thanks them all for the great rescue. Bunny calls Sally to let her know that the base is secure, but Fang got away. Other than that, the day is saved. But wait, we cut to Fiona, who is with some strange Freedom Fighter lookalikes overseeing preparations for a plan orchestrated by none other than Scourge himself. Now that we've covered this chapter of Mogul's Return, allow me to briefly share my thoughts. Firstly, I want to express how engaging I find Mogul. He's probably not the best of the rogues gallery in the story, but he's really my personal favorite villain in the story, no joke. You could say he's basically Eggman with magic instead of technology. And while I find that a fair assessment, I think he has traits that distinguish him from Eggman. They both have their charm, but I feel like Eggman is more prone to let his ego blind his consistency, while Mogul comes off less cocky but is still prideful and rightfully so. While the Doctor is capable of contingency plans, Mogul has more follow-through when it comes to being careful. And let's be real, Eggman has to get away to maintain the status quo, which is fine, but Mogul has managed to be as engaging as Eggman without being entitled to that same level of plot armor. While we're on the topic, I also think it's sick that Ian can juggle all these villains without having them get in each other's way. The world building in these comics is something I've always wanted to see from the Sonic property, and I'm glad these comics and the more recent stuff have writers that can deliver. Alrighty guys and gals, that brings us to the end of this video. Sorry if this one was a little bit on the shorter side, but rest assured that the next arc covered will be a big one. Shoutouts to Mark Gill, he's an avid reader of the comics and the first person to comment on one of my videos. I made a mistake in the very first video where I called Sonic's father Chuck. Chuck is actually Sonic's uncle who is on the Acorn Council. Sonic's roboticized father is named Jules. Whoops. I'm gonna level with all of you. Above anything, whenever I publish these Archie videos, I aim to make them a healthy platform for fans to discuss this comic book. As much of the discussion around Archie has mostly been about the discourse, these stories have genuine heart put into them, and I really look forward to each of your comments. With that being said, subscribe for more. If you catch any of my mistakes, or have recommendations on what I should discuss in future videos, let me know and share your experience with the story down below. I'll see you all next time as I cover Hedgehog Havoc. Goodbye for now.